Dear students, you all know that communication skills is a very important aspect of your personality. Professional communication and ethics is an important course that will help you develop listening, speaking, reading, and writing. You will study the fundamentals of communication, improve your vocabulary and grammar, practice business correspondence, and even understand the rules of technical writing as well as that of basic professional etiquette. We will be doing a thorough revision of each module, beginning with Module 1. Topics covered today will be as follows. Edgar Dale has defined communication as sharing of thoughts and feelings in a mood of mutuality. Well, there are 7 important elements of communication and there are 6 steps in the communication process. Let us take a look at the diagram of the communication cycle. As you can see, a sender has to formulate an idea, encode the message, and then transmit it via an appropriate medium to the receiver. The receiver in turn receives the message, interprets it, decodes it, and finally formulates feedback which he sends back to the sender via an appropriate medium. Once we understand each element, all the other topics will be very easy to learn. So let us take a look at the 7 elements which are as follows. The first element is the sender. A sender is a person who initiates the message and is also known as the source. The sender first has to formulate an idea. Now this idea is in a very raw form. So after formulating an idea or feeling a need to communicate, the sender has to encode it into a message. That is, give it some kind of form, add some meaning to it, and also ensure that it is framed very well. So the components that will form a part of the encoding process would be choosing a particular method and medium, that is whether as oral or written communication, selecting an appropriate language, and also deciding on an appropriate structure so that the message is very clear and concise. The second element is the receiver. A receiver is someone who receives the message. The receiver's previous knowledge, background, experience, views, and beliefs are very important factors in how the receiver interprets the message. The receiver is also the person who then decides on what kind of feedback or response is to be given back to the sender in order to complete the communication process. The third element is the message itself. The message is nothing but the content that is framed by the sender. It is the most important element as there would be no communication without a message. However, certain messages may not require content. For example, non-verbal cues given by senders, such as a teacher in a classroom who raises her eyebrows at a student who is tapping his feet. The student in response will immediately stop tapping his feet and sit up straight. So the teacher sends a non-verbal cue without even speaking a word, and the student understands the message. Well, such non-verbal messages are really powerful and have an instant effect. The fourth element is medium or channel. Now the term medium and channel is used synonymously. However, both have a slightly different meaning. A medium is the way in which the message is being sent. There could be print media, electronic media, such as letters, newspapers, television, mobile phones, the internet, etc. The channel is the direction or the path through which the message is sent, especially in an organization where there is a structured hierarchy. For example, a boss speaking to an employee speaking back to the boss, which is vertical channel, two employees speaking to each other, which is the horizontal channel, an employee of one department speaking to the superior or the boss of another department, which is the diagonal channel. And we also have the informal channel or the grapevine, which is totally based on personal relationships, where informal messages, unofficial messages are being sent by people to each other. The next element is that of environment or context. Environment or context is the background in which the communication is taking place. Now, this background is very important because it decides how the communication seems. The context could also differ. The same sender, receiver, with the same message may still not be the same if the environment is changed or if the context is different. The environment also consists of certain factors such as ventilation, noise around the area, appropriate light, enough proper temperature, etc., which makes the audience comfortable when they are receiving the messages. The sixth element is noise or barrier. A noise or barrier is nothing but an obstacle or hindrance in the process of communication, which can happen at any step in the communication process. It could happen when the sender is formulating an idea, right up to when the receiver is sending the feedback to the sender. There are various kinds of barriers. Physical barriers such as traffic noise or the noise of a fan in a room, glare on the screen, mechanical barriers where a particular instrument has a kind of defect in it, like a microphone or a speaker, or maybe improper network over a call via the mobile phone. We also have internal or psychological barriers, which could be low self-esteem or extra high self-esteem, self-centeredness, defensiveness, closed mindset. We also have semantic barriers such as use of confusing words in a language or vague sentences, etc. And socio-cultural barriers, which could also be a very big difficulty when people from different cultures communicate in an environment. Now, barriers need to be identified, in fact, beforehand, before the communication takes place, analyzed and overcome in order to communicate effectively. The last element, that is the most important, is the feedback. Feedback is equal to the message, the same message, but this time not sent by the sender, but rather by the receiver back to the sender. So in order to identify the difference between these two messages, we term the sender's message as message and the receiver's message as feedback. Feedback is basically the message that is sent via an appropriate medium, and it could be in any form or using any medium, not necessarily the same that the sender used in order to send the message. Feedback makes communication continuous and meaningful. It is the end result of the communication process, and without feedback, communication would never be complete. So students, we have now learned all the 7 elements of communication. We can easily understand the 6 steps in the process, which are as follows. Step 1. Formulation of an idea or feeling of a need to communicate. Step 2. Encoding the message from an idea that is in a raw form into a substantial message. Step 3. Transmitting the message via appropriate medium. Step 4. Receiving the message. Step 5. Decoding the message. And step 6. Feedback, which is the message given back by the receiver to the sender. Now there are various short notes on all these aspects, right from elements, steps, up to the importance of feedback and the different channels of communication. Please click here to learn them all. If you have any doubts, you could drop them in the comment box. Wish you luck.